Which one? This one isn't even on the... Oh, these cables. Excuse us for a moment. Thank you, Susan. Sure, but do you think it's that way? Sure, okay. So it was this one. Well, that's not very friendly. Actually, Kurt, let's try this one, because people may need this for the announcement. Now we have sound and no percussion. Good. No nor'easter. Everybody hear that, Kurt? Rick said, I don't get to give you any static. Very good. Who said church is dull, huh? Whoever said that? Good morning. Welcome to Second Parish, Unitarian Universalist in Hingham. It's great to see all of you. And thank you especially for not staying home for a lazy breakfast on a holiday weekend. It's just so nice to have you here. And there's a beautiful coffee hour arranged for you as well. So it's all to the good. I have a couple of announcements, and then I know there are some other announcements out there. First of all, Susanna is ill, so she's not with us today. And I'm very sorry about that, because I was looking forward to hear her singing Peace Like a River in honor of her father. But she believes she'll be able to be here next week. So good old Mark is going to be improvising a couple of selections that would not work without a vocalist. So stay tuned. We're going to have some interesting changes. Also, I would like to announce that the food pantry is still collecting goods from us for their clients. And this particular time, they really need peanut butter or cheese sandwich crackers, granola bars, beef stew, hearty soups, and canned ravioli, beefaroni, or SpaghettiOs. So if you could pick up an extra can or box as you're doing your food shopping, you could just put them right in the basket here by this door in the vestibule, the access area, or out in the vestibule. Lisa, I believe you have an announcement, yes? And maybe Pam, you do too. Well, come on, that pew is full of announcements. Yes.
Okay. I have 3 announcements, and I have my phone so I can keep my reminders. The first one is last week at coffee hour, a small group of us were discussing some books that we had read, and we had all read Lessons in Chemistry, which is right here. And it's a really wonderful book. It's a fun book, really engaging, kind of a quick read. This copy is Peggy's. Anybody who wants it is welcome to borrow it. And then, sorry for the short notice, we're discussing it next Sunday after coffee hour. And I'm really sorry about that. But
come on, it'll be just like doing homework in high school.
I know, but we had the momentum, and so we just wanted to take advantage of it. And then hopefully it can become a regular thing or a semi-regular thing, so we're open to suggestions for another group read. And in that vein, I shared on Friends of Second Parish this morning an event that is downtown at the Ames Chapel, which is a wonderful venue if you've never been. It's right behind Old Ship in the Hingham Cemetery. And they do a winter series. They were doing it pre-pandemic, and then they've resumed it. Thank goodness, because it's really special. So there's a February event and a March event, and I think they had one maybe in November. So the February event is an author event, and it's a really intimate venue to see an author and have them talk and then be able to actually ask them questions. They don't take every question, obviously, but it is a really fun event. So that book is Yonder by Yabari Asim. And again, I posted on Friends in Second Parish if anybody wants to take a look at that. And then they'll have another author event in the beginning of March, so check them out. My other announcement is we are having a chocolate auction in February. And so I just wanted to put that on everybody's radar so that you can think about what you want to donate to that. So for those of you who don't know, the chocolate auction, we have it pretty much every year around Valentine's Day. So a lot of the treats are Valentine's themed. They're chocolate, but they don't have to be chocolate. We've had a big variety of different things. So keep that in mind. And then the other one is we have started planning for the 65th art show. And because it's the 65th, we want to make it a little special. And we are bringing back the committees. So I will tell you a little bit about what those committees look like. It's not as full scale as we've had it in the past. It'll be very much like last year's art show, but hopefully with a little bit extra things thrown in because we don't have as many COVID precautions as we had then.
Thank you, Lisa. And that chocolate auction is held in Cushing Hall at the end of a coffee hour, probably February 12th, right? Okay, and Pam, you have an announcement.
February 12th, that's right.
Yeah.
Hey there. I just want to announce a few things. The ladies' luncheon is this Friday at noon. Ardith is hosting. If you haven't told me that you're coming and you want to join us, please let me know, either by email, which you can find in the weekly update, or in coffee hour. Second, there is 2 sign-up sheets in Cushing Hall, right on the credenza, for dinners for 8. We'll be hosting 3 dinners for 8. One will be on February 4th, and 2 separate ones will be on February 11th. So please sign up and join us for those. And the last thing is, I'm going to be asking you what your birthday is, because I think it would be fun to just publish whose birthdays are coming up in any one month. So don't have to give me your year, but but that's the reason why. I just like to throw it in the monthly newsletter to say, hey, these are our birthdays coming up. So, thanks.
Thank you, Pam. And to the men in the congregation, I want you to know the leadership board talked about, well, isn't this nice? The ladies have this luncheon, and what do the men have to get together and chat at? And we are open to hearing any ideas. We used to have a men's breakfast, and people still talk about loose eggs, but it is time to look for a different thing to have. So if any of you guys have an idea, I understand, I've only been to one, and at that I was presented with a bottle of Johnny Walker Black. So they're really fun. And it was sharp at 8 o'clock and then home by 9:05. Susan?
Ladies' luncheon, I think, is in Cushing Hall. Is that correct?
No, the ladies' luncheon will be at Ardith's house. No? It's in Cushing Hall. Okay. But you're hosting? Okay. So you're annex then. Okay. Thank you, Susan. The last announcement I'd like to make is that some of you, excuse me, Sam Bam Ham.
Steph, thank you so much. Mom, you can take off your mask. Oh, thank you. 2 announcements, actually. I think it's next Sunday we're having an RE meeting after church.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And what's your announcement, buddy? I am the employee of the year for Through Me to You puppetry. I got chosen. Oh, your hard work, Sam. He does so much. The newsletters, the social media, the list goes on. And I am going to be honored next Saturday with an award ceremony and a banquet. And you all are invited to the Zoom portion. It's at 6 o'clock. And if you want the Zoom link, just email Mother before. You having a birthday? Maybe you could come. This is at nighttime, so you might be able to do both. But I hope so, because they'll both sound fun. Email Mother before Friday, and she'll get you the Zoom link. After Friday, there's no guarantees. Okay. Thanks, Sam. Congratulations. Thank you,
Yes.
everybody. Love you. Mwah.
Oh, thank you, Sam Bam. That's good to know. A lot of competition for that award. So some of you noticed last week, and if you were not at the Christmas Eve service, you may have wondered, our organ takes a little bit more time to warm up now because we have a substitute blower. So you'll hear a, and that's the little monkey inside, and he's running around in his little circle. But Mark has him well trained, and it just means it's warming up. It's a smaller blower than we had originally, but we're still working on getting back to normal.
Can you make the sound again?
I'll make the sound again at coffee hour. So don't fret, okay? The music is coming. I think we've got all our announcements. Is this right? Then let our service begin. On this Martin Luther King Jr. weekend, let us remember that he said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Let us remember these words so that in these moments together, we will seek the inspiration and the guidance to keep moving, growing, learning, to remain open to the grace that surrounds our very being. We will start with our opening hymn, number 361 in the gray hymnal, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. I invite you to stand as you are willing and able. We will be singing the first 3 verses, verses 1, 2, and 3. And Matthias and Mikey to come up and light our chalice for us, please. And as they do so, let us say together the covenant of Second Parish, the promise we make to each other every week. With love for each other and with respect for each person's search for truth, we unite in the spirit of Jesus for the worship of God and the service of our neighbors. Well done. Thank you very much. So it's time for all ages, but before I invite the children to come forward, I'm going to ask you to do something in the pews. Would you stand up right where you are sitting? Just stand up in front of the pew. And I'm going to ask you to put your arms out to the sides, okay, and give yourself a great big hug. Can you do that? Can you hug yourself? Okay, now you can unhug. I want you to pick out an adult. It might be the grown-up that you consider your grown-up. And I'm going to ask you to put your arms around and give that adult a great big hug. Will you give a big hug to your adult? Oh, I'd have them give them to everyone, but you know, COVID, all that sort of stuff. Okay, kids, so now come on forward. So how was that?
That was awesome.
Giving hugs, huh? How many like giving a hug to yourself the best? Anybody like that the best? A couple of people. How many people like giving a hug to somebody else better? Oh, some of you like that better. There's a lot of love in a hug, isn't there? Oh, I can't resist that. Those arms are out. Ooh, yeah, thank you. Oh, here's another one. Thank you, Brooke. Ooh. Whitney, you're alphabetical. I need to remember. Okay, Caroline, thank you. Oh, Matthias, oh, thank you. Oh, wow, I've got the best job in the world. I already gave you a hug. I know, that's from Caleb, right? Okay, well, hugs are pretty nice, aren't they? You know, there's another word for hug. Have you ever heard this word?
Mom's gonna be here in a second.
She is?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad. The other word...
Mom's gonna take a shower too.
Okay, well, that's about time, yeah. Okay. The other word for hug is embrace. Has anybody ever heard that word, embrace? You have.
Yeah, I have a friend.
You do?
Yeah.
Do you embrace your friend?
No, but braces.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, now I'm going to talk a little bit, okay? Is that good? Cool. So, hugging and embracing is really important for expressing love. And I don't know if any of you know this, but there's a new statue on Boston Common called the Embrace. You've heard about it? Yeah, and you're going to see a picture of it. Those of you who can't see the picture, remember it from what you saw in the news. It's called the Embrace.
I'll show you another one here.
And Lee's going to show you, look, here's what that statue is based on. It's a picture of Martin Luther King Jr. embracing his wife, Coretta Scott King, and she's embracing back. How about that?
It looks like a heart.
It does look like a heart. Good observation. Yes, Caroline.
You have pictures all over the school.
You have that picture all over your school. Okay, good. How many of you like that statue? Does anybody not like it?
I like it.
You like it? We all like it?
I like it.
Good. What do you like about it?
It's shaped like a heart.
Because you like it that it's shaped like a heart. Yeah. What do you like about it?
I love how
Hold on, it's Mikey's turn. Matthias's turn, sorry.
because third is not the worst, and I love actually forget.
You forget, but you still like that.
Something like that.
Okay.
With something going with it. I love how
Okay.
something.
Whitney, hold on. You hold on. We'll get to you again, okay? Matthias. No, Mikey. I'm getting my M's mixed up today. Go ahead, Mikey.
Because the other one was gold.
You what? Oh, you like the color. Yeah, it's a pretty neat color, isn't it? No, okay, go ahead before he forgets.
Because third is not the worst because bronze is basically like gold and silver and bronze.
Ah, now here is some wisdom. Bronze is not the worst. There's gold and silver and bronze. So it's really in the top three, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a wonderful, wonderful material to have a statue made. Would you like to have a statue made of you in bronze? Wow, wouldn't that be something? Nola, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say I liked the color and I kind of like.
You like the color too? Yeah. And do you know what's neat? When this statue gets open to the public, which is going to happen in February. Lee, do you want to just show it to them again if you can? People, I'm going to get to you in just when I finish this, okay? People can walk right through and stand in the middle of the hug. Isn't that cool?
You can stand right there and look up when it's open in February. It would be cool if we could all go to it sometime.
It would be.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to hear what Whitney wants to tell us. What did you want to tell us?
I just love the colors.
The color again. We've got a lot of good feedback on this color, this bronze. Sam Bam, thank you, Whitney.
I like it because it reminds me that love is in action.
Oh, Sam Bam, no wonder he's Employee of the Year. It reminds him that love is an action word. Well, what a wonderful tribute to Martin Luther King Jr. and his wife, Coretta Scott King. because she was there all the time too, helping him do all the good things he did. And you're going to learn more about them today in Sunday Adventures. And someday, parents, field trip chaperones, you might get to walk into that embrace. So, as you go up to Sunday Adventures, high five me. If you want to practice your hugs, I'm ready. And if you just want to smile, I like smiles too. Okay? Oh, you wait till I've got to stand over here. Okay, so Mark, if you would please play Go Now in Peace, we will sing you out. Oh, God. Okay. I always feel like that's the best time in church, isn't it? They are so sweet. We're going to have the responsive reading next. You'll find it in the order of service. This actually comes from a book many of you probably read a long time ago, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And your part is in bold-faced italics. Laws and principles are not, they are for such moments as this. If, at my convenience, I might break them. Please reflect on these words as we listen to Mark's substitute solo for today. And if you have not done so already and have a joy or concern you wish to share, please write it on one of the index cards in the pews. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. If you have a joy or concern on a card, would you hold it up? The ushers will bring them forward. I would like, of course, to ask you to be thinking about all who are suffering from bad weather in California and Alabama and elsewhere, all those who are suffering from war in the Ukraine and elsewhere, all who are suffering from starvation in Africa and elsewhere. And also, I would like to express a joy that I saw a wonderful post on Facebook that the Hingham High School class of 1971 made a sizable donation to our food pantry. Well, I'm very possessive, to the Hingham Food Pantry. And there was a wonderful picture in Cushing Hall of that check being presented. I am not a graduate of 1971. I'm older than that. But I just thought that was great that they are giving back. And that makes me very happy. We do have your joys and sorrows to consider. A sorrow, of course, thinking of Anna Walsh's children and hoping they find a secure and loving home. I think our hearts have been very much with that family in so many different ways. Also, a prayer for Jerry Collins, who died from a heart attack Tuesday. This is Mary's sister-in-law, and we, of course, think of her and her husband and of you as well. Here are some joys. Lainey is feeling grateful for having many cousins over last night, including a cousin who traveled from Washington State. Well, that's wonderful. Congratulations. I live next door. It was very quiet. You people behaved good. And a joy for my daughter Nicole's birthday and the gathering of the family to celebrate this afternoon. That is wonderful. That is just wonderful. And a joy for the embrace. From the enclosure surrounding to the, I can't read it, the statue? The sculpture, thank you. Love is such a powerful force. It is there for everyone to embrace. That kind of unconditional love for all of humankind. This is the kind of love that impels people to go into the community and try to change conditions for others, to take risks for what they believe in. How beautifully to describe that statue that way. It is a wonderful addition to our cityscape in Boston. Thank you. May you think on these joys and sorrows as we sing Spirit of Life, and may you think on the ones felt in your hearts but perhaps not spoken. Please remain seated and we will sing Spirit of Life. Spirit of Life, known by many names, served by many hands, held in many hearts. As we rest in these moments of quiet, may we find the courage to embrace all that is our life, the joys and the sorrows, the rewards and the demands, the hopes, and the disappointments. May we find in ourselves the courage and the faith to try and make the world a better place and ourselves better people, understanding that we exist in a network of mutuality that renders each individual a vital part of a larger whole. Our arms reach out to help and to comfort. Our arms reach out for help and for comfort. And all that we are carries us forward. May we move forward, wrapped in the grace of ever-present kindness. And may that grace be with us as we reflect and pray in the echo of the bell. And now may we join our voices together in the Lord's Prayer, Father, Mother, as written by Parker Palmer, which you will find in your order of service. Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, holy and blessed is your true name. We pray for your reign of peace to come. We pray that your good will be done. Let heaven and earth become one. Give us this day the bread we need. Give it to those who have none. Let forgiveness flow like a river between us, from each one to each one. Lead us to holy innocence beyond the evil of our days. Come swiftly, Mother, Father, come. For yours is the power and the glory and the mercy. Forever your name is all in one. The offering will now be taken for the good work of this church. Thank you for the many ways in which you give. Thank you for the many ways in which you share, including financially. Okay, now the ushers can relax for a minute because I'm on my constant quest for different songs to sing after we take the offering. If you look in your order of service, you will sing. We have different words, but the tune may be familiar to some of you. The way it turns out, this is going to make us really appreciate Susanna, because if she had been here, she would have been able to lead us. But Mark, I think we'll go through it once together. Is that a good idea? Thank you.
We do the bottom part?
Let's do the bottom part first.
Just like this. Oh, should we sing the bottom part?
Yes, and for those of you who want to see the words, it's in the gray hymnal.
Here we go.
Sing, 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 sing. Sing, 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 sing. Lift up your hearts, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the faith within. It's number 368. Sing, sing, now let us sing, 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 be not afraid, sing not afraid. Sing to the power of the faith within. So that's one part, you sort of get it. And then there's another part, the top part.
What about the top?
Did we just do it?
You did.
Oh, I need Susanna.
Sounding good.
You know? So let's just kind of sing from our hearts. And if the words vary, that's not a problem. We're all singing a joyful song. And now the ushers can come forward, okay? When the music starts.
What would you like?
Hit it, Mark.
Okay, go.
Sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing. Sing to the power of the faith within. Lift up your voice. Lift up your voice. Be not afraid. Sing to the power of the love within. We're going to really learn that, but you did a good job. Thank you. And thank you, Mark. So I'll reward you with a reading. How's that? This reading comes from the African-American poet Lucille Clifton. It's entitled, I Am Running Into a New Year. I am running into a new year, and the old years blow back like a wind that I catch in my hair, like strong fingers, like all my old promises. And it will be hard to let go of what I said to myself about myself when I was 16 and 26 and 36, even 36. But I am running into a new year, and I beg what I love and I leave to forgive me. So the title of our sermon today is, How Are Those Resolutions Doing? How are they doing? My research tells me this is the demographic that makes the fewest New Year's resolutions. But that means you've been through it in the past. I'll get to that. We're just 2 years into the new year, and there are all sorts of statistics about New Year's resolutions and how we might be doing. I discovered this website, discoverhappyhabits.com. Doesn't that sound like a charming place to spend some time? And it tells me that by the first week in January, about a quarter of people have dropped their New Year's resolutions. By February, about a third have dropped their New Year's resolutions. And by June, the number is down to 1/2. So if you're struggling with how you plan to improve for the new year, it's not unusual. You have a lot of company. Resolving to do better is an age-old human practice, and faltering at it is also an age-old human practice. In the New Testament, the Christian Testament, Paul admits, I do not understand what I do. For what I want to do, I do not do, but what I hate, I do. In fact, stumbling in our New Year's resolutions is so common that we might wonder why people even bother making them. Well, the practice goes back a long time, and it started with humans trying to please the gods and earn their favor. 4,000 years ago, the Babylonians were the first to make resolutions, and they celebrated a holiday called Akitu, which observed the planting of crops and marked the beginning of their new year. And they promised the gods that they would repay their debts. And if they kept their promise, the gods would, of course, reward them. Well, if you move up in time to about 43 BC, ancient Rome also celebrated the new year, making promises to the god Janus to be good in the coming year. Janus, of course, is where we get the name of the month, January. Janus was a two-faced deity. One face looked forward to the future, one looked back to the past. He was considered the god of change and beginnings, among other things, and his dual vision was considered symbolic of transition. At the new year, the Romans would sacrifice a ram to him, they would hold parties, they would exchange gifts, and they would make promises for the new year. We'll skip ahead to the Middle Ages, and New Year's resolutions are still around, including clergy asking their parishioners to correct their faults. I thought that might be a whole sermon in itself, huh? However, clergy and holy people were not immune from the challenge of improving themselves, of making and trying to hold themselves to improvements. And the University of Georgia professor Jamie Kreiner reports, I love the title of this book, The Wandering Mind, What Medieval Monks Tell Us About Distraction. In this book, Kreiner reports that even medieval monks had trouble dedicating themselves to improvement. And one monk even wrote in a letter, all I do is eat, sleep, and be negligent. I like that monk. Other people in medieval society, such as knights, would take something called the peacock vow at the end of the Christmas season each year. And this involves swearing with their hand on either a live peacock or a roasted peacock. Whatever, if it's alive or dead, it would have the full tail plumage out. And they would swear to uphold the principles of chivalry. And one important facet of the ceremony was that at the end of it, everybody present had to get a slice of peacock. So, sometimes you're glad you're not carving up the bird, but that was the requirement. Writing in Bring Back the Peacock Vow, New Yorker journalist Katie Waldman applauds this custom because she says it looks outward to others and not inward to the self, which she felt previous resolutions had done. It makes a promise to society and to the ideal. Well, by the middle of the 18th century, the English clergyman John Wesley, founder of Methodism, created the covenant renewal services, which eventually became associated with New Year's Eve. He was inspired by what Moravians celebrated as Watch Night. These were services that were, in essence, recreating Jesus' night vigils that he would hold before making a major decision or taking action. And Wesley's watch night services would call for people to renew their covenant with God, to Christ, and the church. There would be the reading of scriptures, there would be the hymn singing, and today, this kind of a watch service is used in many evangelical churches, particularly African American ones and Korean Christian ones, where people pray and they make resolutions. So resolutions, New Year's resolutions, are not a thing of the past. Forbes magazine reports that almost half of all Americans make New Year's resolutions. They made New Year's resolutions this year for 2023. And interestingly enough, the demographic with the most participants is the millennials, 18 to 34. So it would seem that we humans have a long history of pausing in times of transition such as the new year, to assess where we are and to think about where we want to be, often making New Year's resolutions or promises, and just as often struggling to keep them. I think Nelson Mandela wonderfully captures this tendency in Our Centering Thought, where he humbly identifies himself as a saint, if you think of a saint as a sinner who keeps on trying. Not necessarily succeeding, but trying. I did find a New Year's practice that is a whole lot easier than making New Year's resolutions. It is practiced in Colombia. And they have a custom there of not making resolutions, but instead to make wishes. Oh, you see that nice turn? Instead of a resolution, they make wishes to do better. And as the clock strikes midnight, people eat one grape on each chime and make one wish for each chime. I noticed Jane has grapes on the coffee hour table, and some of you may try this. I don't think it's an easy thing to do. In 12 seconds, to consume 12 grapes. But wishing may be easier than resolving and attempting to do something and failing, and then not giving up, but trying to do it again and again and again, which frankly can almost start to sound a little bit like the official definition of insanity. Clearly, though, throughout history, it's been hard for people to stick to their New Year's resolutions. And the reading, the poem by Lucille Clifton, certainly informs me, not the one by Lucille Clifton, but the reading that I've done this week does tell me that there are plenty of self-help resources to guide people in trying to keep those resolutions, about how to create a plan, how to stick to the plan, et cetera, and get results. And while I think there are plenty of useful suggestions to be found in self-help resources, you know that my tendency is to ask the question about how spirituality can assist us in making changes in ourselves, how spirituality can sustain us in our attempts to be better people. Now, you could ask that question of any two UU ministers and probably get different answers. And I will tell you quite honestly, I'm not sure I've fashioned my final answer yet, but I have encountered two approaches that I think can be helpful. The first is to accept that we are not in control and that we require help beyond our own intentions or wishes. I know this view is not going to be popular with anyone who fancies himself a self-made man or a self-made woman, but you see, I'm not convinced that anybody is truly self-made. And it is a perspective that is expressed in our responsive reading when Charlotte Bronte writes of the rigor of laws and principles, the laws that the society, the community creates for the common good, and the principles that will exert themselves no matter what we wish. She writes about them as steady, perhaps immutable, of course, unless they need to be changed, and then people work to change them. But they do have a powerful force. And until laws are changed or principles are rediscovered, what we know is generally going to hold us accountable to their consequences. If I fail to tell the truth under oath, it is more likely that I will be accused of perjury. If I sit out in the sun for hours and don't protect my skin, I'm likely to suffer some damage according to scientific principles. What's quite important about the role of these laws and principles rests in how they remind us that there are forces in the world that are immune to our personal desires. Bronte phrases it as, if at my convenience I might break them, what would be their worth? As if to emphasize that though we might be the center of our world, we are not the center of the world. And understanding we are not in full control provides us with the humility that can direct us when we seek to make a change, to look for support we need from something larger than ourselves, from community or ritual or custom or age-old wisdom, whether it's expressed in a religious context, a literary context, or an historical context. Doing so can teach us and inspire us and encourage us in achieving what we have resolved to pursue. When you think about it, the ancients tried to bargain for help from their gods, and even today many people bargain with their concept of a god. And whether strength is sought through science or superstition or a deeper spirituality or through community or through custom, the recognition of respecting help from something greater than just ourselves offers potent assistance. I'm just not sure that that's enough. We are, after all, individuals in a society and a world, and we must acknowledge not just the society, but also our individuality. We are most human when we embrace others and ourselves. In this morning's reading, Lucille Clifton's poem makes clear how even as we move forward, we bring our old selves with us. The speaker admits in the poem, "It will be hard to let go of what I said to myself about myself." It admits that applies to at least 3 decades of her life. When I was 16, 26, even 36, when she might have expected to have a fairly good understanding of what she was and who she was. Most of us have that inner monologue. Some people refer to it as the committee that sits on your shoulder. It praises and scolds us, often shaping how we experience things and how we act. Making the change that a New Year's resolution requires, that we silence or alter the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves. And when Clifton's speaker begs, "What I love and I leave to forgive me," she touches not only on the loss that is embedded in change, despite the possibility of gain, but also on the requirement of forgiveness. Now there's a truly spiritual concept. As the Dalai Lama has put it, all major religious traditions carry basically the same message. That is, love, compassion, and forgiveness. The important thing is they should be part of our daily lives. And that includes forgiveness of ourselves as well as forgiveness of others. We might have a better chance of making progress on our resolutions if we grasp the importance of quieting that inner monologue that can undermine our resolve. Not doing so to exalt ourselves, but rather to recognize our humanity alone and among human beings. These 2 spiritual sources for help for New Year's resolutions are any kind of change, reaching for help from something bigger than just our own selves, forgiving whatever it is in our own past that we helped to create the need for our improvement. Seems to have landed me smack in the middle of another paradox. That's not an unusual place to land when you're exploring the meaning of life. But I believe that if we are reconciled with the indifference of the universe and the compassion of the universe, the habits of our personal story and the hopes of what that story can become, any of our new beginnings, any of our resolutions can move forward with spiritual strength and practical honesty. And that can only be a good thing. Let us sing of this process in our closing hymn, number 211, "We Are Climbing Jacob's Ladder." And I invite you to rise, embody your spirit as we sing. And if you don't like "We Are Climbing Jacob's Ladder," you can dance Sarah's Circle. Up to you on this. Please be seated. Let us go forward into our attempts to grow better with these words of Martin Luther King Jr.'s in our hearts. Change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle. While we must accept finite disappointment, we must never lose infinite hope, so that we walk on in the days ahead with the audacious faith in the future for the world and for ourselves. Amen.